If you're learning to code, you know the feeling, right? That incredible high when your idea finally works, and then that crushing low from a bug you just can't seem to squash. Well, that whole roller coaster, that's pretty much every developer's journey. Today, we're going to map out the common traps that can keep you stuck for months, even years, and show you how to sidestep them. Seriously, you can level up your skills way faster than you think.
Look, I want to start with a confession. This was me. I spent years just spinning my wheels, hitting the same walls over and over again. And the mistakes, they felt huge at the time. But looking back, they were all rooted in just a few simple, flawed ways of thinking. This is the stuff I wish someone had told me on day one. So first up, let's talk about the most tempting trap of all, the shortcut. You see all these amazing apps, these cool projects online, and you want to build them, like right now. That pull of the finish line is so strong, and it makes you want to just skip right over all the boring stuff. But think about it like this, okay? You wouldn't try to write a novel if you didn't understand grammar, right? Or try to build a car engine without knowing how combustion works. It's the same thing in development. Jumping straight into a framework like Flutter without really getting the language it's built on, like Dart, is the exact same mistake. Sure, you might get something that kind of looks like it works, but it's built on sand. It's going to crumble the second you face a real challenge. Here's the thing about the right path. It feels slower at first, but it pays off big time. You've got to force yourself to master the foundation. Really learn the language, its rules, its quirks. Then you can start to grasp the core concepts that apply pretty much everywhere. Only then, once you have that solid base, should you start building with the flashy frameworks. Trust me on this one. What you build will be stronger, and you'll end up building it so much faster. Okay, let's move on to our second major pitfall. And this one is basically a form of self-sabotage. I call it building a maze for your future self. It's that moment when you finally get something to work, and you just move on, leaving this trail of confusing, messy code behind you. I want you to ask yourself this question every single time you finish a feature. And I mean it. Be totally honest. If you came back to this exact piece of code in 1 week with zero memory of writing it, could you figure out what it does and why? If the answer is no, you haven't just created a headache for a potential teammate. You've created a problem for the person most likely to have to fix it, future you.
I mean, look at this. The code on the left might work, but it's a complete mystery. The code on the right, it tells a story. It uses descriptive names like calculate total price and items, and there's a clear comment explaining its purpose. You have to remember, the computer executes your code, but it's humans who have to read and maintain it. So write for them. Your future self trying to fix a bug at 2 in the morning will be very, very grateful.
All right, this next mistake is a subtle one, but it's at the absolute core of what separates a struggling coder from a real professional developer. It's the trap of believing that programming is all about memorizing syntax, about knowing exactly what to type. The real goal isn't memorization. It's conceptual understanding. It's not about knowing the magic spell to make a button show up on the screen. It's about understanding the concepts, like state management, or user interfaces, or event handling, so deeply that you could figure out how to make that button appear in any language or framework. It's all about knowing the why. Think of it like a tourist who memorizes 5 phrases in a foreign language versus someone who actually learns the grammar. The tourist is totally helpless the second the conversation goes off script, but the person who understands the grammar, they can build new sentences to handle any situation. Memorization just turns you into a code copier. Understanding turns you into a real problem solver. And now we arrive at the final boss for every new developer, the single biggest source of frustration, anger, and just wanting to throw your computer out the window. I'm talking, of course, about the error message, that flash of red text that feels like a personal attack. Just look at that. I bet for a lot of you, just seeing this on screen causes a little spike of anxiety. Your code was working just fine, and now, this wall, this message that seems like it's shouting, "You failed," right in your face. It really feels like the end of the road. But what if it isn't? What if that feeling of failure is just a complete misinterpretation of what's actually happening? What if this isn't a wall, but a signpost? This is where the whole mindset shift has to happen. You have to completely reframe your relationship with errors. An error message is not your enemy. It's your single best teacher. It is a precise guide telling you exactly where you went wrong and why. Learning to calmly read and understand an error is maybe the most valuable skill you can develop. Every error you solve isn't just a bug fixed. It's a permanent level up in your understanding. So let's bring this all together. Your path to becoming a pro isn't about learning a list of tips and tricks.
It's about adopting a professional mindset, a fundamental shift in how you approach the craft of writing code.
So here it is, the path forward. 1. Build from the ground up and never ever skip the fundamentals. 2. Write clean, clear code because you respect the next person who's going to read it. 3. Chase the why, not just the what. Focus on concepts, not just syntax. And finally, number 4. Learn to love your errors because they are your fastest path to growth.
Ultimately, this is the secret. Nobody writes perfect code. Not beginners and not senior developers at Google. The difference is that a professional has failed, debugged, and learned from thousands and thousands of errors. They've built an intuition. The journey isn't about getting to some state of perfection where you make no mistakes. It's about becoming incredibly efficient at learning from every single one you make.
So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you sit down to code and you hit that wall, you see that error message, where you feel tempted to take that shortcut, what are you going to do? Choose to see that moment not as a setback, but as the exact challenge you need to face in order to grow. Now go build something amazing. Thanks for listening.